All right, so with this game, we have a little bit of a border battle going on with Green Bay. With going right into it, they possess the 11th total defense in the league with 302 yards allowed a game, a sixth-ranked passing defense, which is surprising given how leaky that secondary has been through the past few years. And they are allowing 199.8 yards a game through the air. 22nd ranked rushing defense, 121 allowed a game on the ground. Their offense is ranked pretty well, which you might have been able to expect given that it's Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You've got Montgomery, Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Martellus Bennett. You know the people. So they have the 16th ranked total offense, averaging 336.6 yards a game. They have the 11th ranked passing offense with 245 yards a game, but only the 22nd ranked rushing offense with 91.6 yards a game along the ground. And then going over to our guys, we have the 7th ranked total defense, allowing 309 yards a game. And we have the 20th ranked passing defense at 229.2 yards a game, which is a little I think it being 20th might surprise some people, but I think we have a little bit more holes in that secondary than people like to admit. I think we have Rhodes and Harrison who are studs, and then I think most of it after that is pretty questionable, personally. And then you have the sixth ranked rushing defense from us, which is a lot improved from last year. Last year they think they ranked 20th against the run. So them being sixth, we've essentially flipped spots between passing and rushing defense this year, and we're only allowing 80 yards along the ground this year in the rushing defense. Then we have the ninth ranked total offense, so ours is actually ranked higher than the Packers. Who would have thought? And then you have the 13th passing offense in the league, of averaging 238 yards a game, and then the 11th ranked rushing offense in the league with 118.2 yards a game along the ground there. And then if we go into more key injury things, the two guys that are out for Green Bay, who are officially just not playing tomorrow, you got Morgan Burnett, who is a starter. He's a safety. So an already, I think, suspect secondary, even though they are the sixth ranked passing defense, I think that's a kind of a blow. You got Joe Thomas, who's out. He's a linebacker, not the tackle that you're thinking of from Cleveland. He's more of a special teams backup kind of guy. He's nothing that's that big of a deal. And then they have two guys who are doubtful with Ahmad Brooks and Kevin King, which I think could be very big for this team, just because you have Ahmad Brooks is a pass rusher, so you lose a pass rusher against what is a questionable line, I think, for the most part of our guys. And then you have Kevin King, who's doubtful with a guy who's already out in that secondary, Morgan Burnett. So it could get ugly out there. And then they have four guys who are questionable. Ty Montgomery is listed as questionable, but he's playing, and he's probably going to see a pretty decent workload. But three guys who are actually questionable: David Bakhtiari, Brian Bulaga, the two tackles. So each bookend for Green Bay is questionable, and if they play, they're dinged up going against our D line, which I think could be a very big mismatch for them. And then you also have Devon House, who's another corner. So they possibly have three guys out in this secondary. So that could be big. And then if you go over to us, we have three guys who are listed as out and then one guy who's questionable. Our three that are out are Bradford, which I'm pretty sure we all could have guessed from the Halloween game, which my guess is he doesn't really play till possibly after the bye after that. And Diggs and Easton are also out. So I think without a doubt the biggest blow there is probably Stephon Diggs. And then Sendejo is questionable. So if we kind of go into all of this, what I would go into here would be Michael Floyd with Stephon Diggs being out. He really needs to step up, especially if we're talking possibly two or three of these guys in the secondary for Green Bay being gone. Two of them being corners and another one being a safety. We might be able to get some deep shots. And although we are losing a guard, they might be losing a pass rusher and Ahmad Brooks. So I know that's not edge guy, but against edge guy there, but it's still notable, I think, because you like to move pieces around. And then uh, speaking about Easton, it's probably going to be Searles, even though I would want him to be Isadora because I think Isadora is a much better player, even though he's a rookie, and I know Zimmer doesn't like to play the rookies. But I think when it's very obvious that the rookie plays better and more consistent, then the veteran he should get the playing time. But that's apparently unheard of. And I think we really need to take advantage of a leaky run defense. I think this is a game that we need Latavius Murray to show up if we were to have a chance. So, and then onto the defensive side, we really need to have the defensive line really show out against what is at the very least a slightly hobbled offensive line from the Green Bay Packers because they lost T.J. Lang, you lost Shredder to in free agency, and then you have your two tackles are hurt, so you have Jahari Evans, who they pretty much almost felt like they dragged him out of retirement. I didn't even know he was still in the league until they signed him. And then you have Lane Taylor on the other side. So, and then your two tackles are hurt against our front. That could be a real issue for them. So I think that should make the idea of containing Rodgers, how we always would like him to be contained, a lot more feasible this year, as where he's usually getting out the pocket, making some magnificent throw that's like, how does that happen? And then we ultimately lose the game because there's more of those plays than there probably should be. And then, so we need to be able to contain the pocket. D-line really needs to show out during that. And then we also need to be able to play disciplined football because every time someone plays Green Bay, it feels like there's just random flags. Like whether or not they're good or bad calls, it feels like there's a lot of flags. So I think this, as much as we want to blame the refs, we also have to blame the players in the fact like you cannot be in a position where that can happen. You need to be able to play disciplined football. So that's another big deal. Like whether it's offense, special teams, defense, I don't care what it is. We need to have a very low penalty game for us to win. Even though it's in Minnesota, we're also talking in Minnesota. There's no Dalvin Cook, obviously, so that element's gone. There's no Diggs, so that element is gone. And then you have Bradford out, so we're starting a backup quarterback in Case Keenum. So the odds are kind of stacked against you already because you got Case Keenum going up against Aaron Rodgers, and it's not looking good that way. So disciplined football, and you need to run the ball because like I said, this run defense has been kind of leaky. So this is really the game we need to get Latavius going. Because Latavius can be kind of our grinder, as where we saw on Monday night. Jarek can be the home run hitter. So I think that's kind of more what this needs to be. Like we will get Jarek in space, and we will try to get him out on the edge. So that means Latavius is pretty much, for the most part, the in between the tackles guy, which is what we kind of thought he was coming into Minnesota. He's never run in a zone scheme, and I think if you ask him to run outside zone, he's not really the best at it. He's more of this one cut and go power runner, which works a lot better in Oakland when you run a power run scheme, but when you switch over to a zone running scheme up in Minnesota, you got some issues. So I think for the most part, that's how that's going to be, just because McKinnon's a much better outside zone runner. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. And then I think we need to talk about the issue of Sendejo cannot go. Sendejo, even though I'm kind of an advocate of trying to replace Sendejo, I still want Sendejo on this team, even if we try to replace Sendejo, because I think Sendejo would be a very, very good reserve safety, but I don't think he's really that great to keep as a starting safety across from Harrison Smith. So he's kind of in that weird middle range where you don't mind him on the team, you just don't want him starting every play. So if he can't go, we're talking either Anthony Harris or Jaron Kearse back there. So unless they want to try Tremaine Brock or Terrence Newman back there as well, then those are your options. And it doesn't. And against Aaron Rodgers, I would not want to trot that out there. But I don't think that would be that would not end up well if we had to do any of that. Sendejo kind of needs to play, and I think that's we're probably going to see Sendejo, but I just thought I would bring it up as a matter of fact. So my prediction is that we will probably lose this game just because we have so many key people that are hurt. Although they have some banged up people, but most of them are questionable. So ours are out. We got Diggs out, and I think that's ultimately a thing that could be kind of a deal breaker, even though we're getting Michael Floyd back. And some people would be like, oh, that's kind of moot. Although they're two different breeds of receiver, as where Diggs is going to kind of kill you with the route running. Michael Floyd's not much of a he's not a bad route runner, but he's not as refined as Diggs is as a route runner. Floyd's going to be more of this you get him downfield and you throw it up to him and he's going to have to catch the ball. And we have that with Thielen and Treadwell, essentially. So we have three almost similar breeds of receiver. So I don't know how that would work out, although they do have a much worse secondary than I think they were boasting right now, just because they have so many injuries back there. Like, I would still think this comes down to can Remmers and whoever it is, whether probably Searles, hold up on the line so we can give Keenum time to look downfield and can we have a running game? Because if we can't run against this line and this front seven that they have, I think we got issues because they've been allowing running yards all year, rushing yards. They got 121 a game that they're allowing. So I don't get why we wouldn't be able to do that. So, but I still think we're probably going to end up losing this game just because they have Aaron Rodgers and we have Case Keenum. And it just comes as simple as that. And it's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. I'm going to say 20-27. And I would like to know what you guys think in the comments down below. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on Twitter at Brian_Spadafora. And I will see you guys later for a game recap. I bid you farewell.